Miss.
Okay, that's fine, Councillor Carter. I'm going to start the meeting and I'm sure that the technical issues will be resolved as we move along, okay?
Can I just say it's very, very hazy and broken up. So if I don't hear properly, just...
Gentlemen, welcome to the February Ordinary Council meeting. Welcome. I'll declare this meeting open at 7 minutes past 6, so we're starting a little bit late. Kaya Marman, Kaya Yoga, Kaya Bridie, Yarnanuk, Nalak Kadij Winji Alak Nini, Nalak Kadij Nidja, Budja Bal, Wajak Nunga, Budja Nalak Nini, Kura, Nijie Burawan. The town of Bassendean acknowledges the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation as the traditional custodians of this land. We pay our respects to elders past and present and acknowledge their continuing culture and the contribution they make to the region. Councillors, I will now ask if you have all signed the Declaration of Civic Duty and Responsibility, noting that Councillor Carter is not here and cannot do so. So just for the benefit of the audience, the declaration is as follows. I make this declaration in good faith and declare that I will duly, faithfully, honestly and with integrity fulfil the duties of my office for all the people in the town of Bassendean according to the best of my judgment and ability. Announcements. Now, we do have a significant community consultation that is being undertaken by DPLH for 1 Park Lane, otherwise known as Wilson Street Car Park. This consultation closes this coming Friday, so not much time left. I would encourage people to put in their feedback, read that development. Information can be found on the DPLH site, the Town of Bassendean Facebook page, and also at the Town of Bassendean offices at 35 Old Perth Road. Attendances, apologies and applications for leave of absence. We have one apology from Mr. Shane Asmos, Director of Infrastructure and Sustainability, and we have a leave of absence for Councillor Talon Ames. Mr. CEO, there are no other? Okay. Councillors, I would ask if there are any applications for leave of absence, leave coming up? No? Okay. Councillor Carter, no? I'll move on. Councillors, do I have any councillors with a declaration of interest for any item on the agenda? I know that Councillor Carter had a declaration last week regarding item 12.3, the Nurstead Avenue draft local planning policy for heritage and conservation. So, Councillor Carter, the same declaration for this week, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I have an impartiality interest.
Okay. Any other councillors with a declaration of interest on any item on the agenda? Okay, we will move on. I have received no deputations at the moment, and that means we'll move on to statements. Now, statements are limited to 2 minutes per person. If you have a statement, please raise your hand, come to the microphone, state your name and address. Mr. Grogan. And I'll just check the microphone is on. Thank you.
Okay, good evening. It may take a couple of minutes. First of all, I don't want to sound patronising, but I did in previous years chair the municipal inventory for heritage, so I had a bit of an idea, and I live in the Nurstead area. I just want to, on behalf of, to the councillors, I want to congratulate our town planner, Alex Snadden, on a very professional report that he put forward. It was very concise, and I think he covered all bases, and it was really, really excellent, Alex, and I don't want favours off you, but I'm just telling you did extremely well and should be congratulated. The other one I want to bring up, and it's apropos to the Wilson Street car park. Now, I'm not for or against. I have differing thinking about it. After 37 years of real estate, I realise that we need accommodation. But one thing that comes out of this, a lot of people don't know, is this land here was bought by the Bassendean Improvement Committee, which is made up of ladies who raised the money to buy all this land and also through to the Oval. And then in 1930, 1933, was handed over to the Bassendean Roads Board, but who then, we'll say, handed it to the government with a lien, or a memorial, we would call it. I haven't cited the title, that this land here, part here, be used for recreation purposes only. It had a bowling club on it. I'll just leave you with that. But that is in writing, and I've got a copy of that, and also the original part where they raised the money. But it was raised by local ladies in Bassendean to actually purchase all this, and then when it was given to the then government, there was an added separate lien to it, we'll call it, that land be used for recreational purposes only, just like over in Eltone Road around there and that area where there's a golf club and a gym and everything. That land there had the same situation to it. I'll leave you with that.
Thank you, Mr. Grogan. And I believe one of our other lovely attendees has a statement to make.
Yeah, can I let my statement run straight into my question, or I can come back when
I think
statements
I'll
are
allow
finished?
you to do that.
Okay, because they're related. Look, firstly, I'm also going to do the congratulations thing. I can't tell, my heart skipped a beat when I went onto the view maps online and discovered the drainage plan. I mean, that's just such a wonderful thing to have on the online, where you can actually see which way the water flows, and so I can figure out how to maybe channel more water towards Bindaring at some point. But yeah, so that's really a step in the right direction. I'm here tonight motivated by the new apartment proposal, and like Michael, I just wanted to acknowledge that the recreation reserve side of things, but really just to point out, I bought a copy of Jenny's book. I commend to you Jenny's book, because there's a good section in there about it, and there's also some of the documents that Michael was referring to. There are some of those in the local history collection. And if you look at the local history, in the local history collection, there's a beautiful design concept plan, hand watercoloured and all green and lush. And in the pointy end, which is near the train station, which is part of the car park site, there was proposed to be a pergola with a pool with a fountain. Now, the significance of that is sort of related to what I'm interested in, which is how wet that area is. And so that's my statement, really. I think that the idea of inserting a pool with a fountain during the Depression meant that the water and the water pressure was free. You know, it wasn't like it was going to cost them a lot of money to develop that. Okay, I'll leave it at that and then move into my question, which relates to, and I've looked at all the documents online about the proposal, and I couldn't find anything about dewatering the site. But I'm thinking that, so my question is, will the site need to be dewatered during construction because of the high water table? And if the answer is yes, will there be a requirement to test the water quality at the commencement and during the works, so that if it turns into a situation where there really is an abundance of water that's hard to get rid of, we know whether it's, you know, where it should be channeled to, you know, whether or not it's salty or acidic or too warm or whatever. So I think that's an important consideration with such a big project. But the second part of my question is, if it needs to be dewatered during construction, would it need to be dewatered once construction is complete? Because a number of buildings around the town do have dewatering facilities to make sure the water clears out from under the building. And I've been through the documents and I can't find any reference to drainage issues at all or dewatering. So I'm wondering if there is a need to ask for a geotechnical report about the site that might need to have surface water remediation.
So just
my
quickly
question.
before I hand over to the CEO, my understanding is the town is not the determining authority on this particular project. It's Crown land. It's being handled by DPLH. Now, my understanding is the town did suggest that a geotechnical report be undertaken, but I'll just ask Ms. CEO, would you like to add anything to that commentary?
Thanks, Phil. Only that we did email you responses this afternoon. I'm not sure if you had a chance to read those.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay, so the Mayor is right. We're not the determining authority. So both your questions, although worthy, probably should go to the state government or the Development WA. In relation to the geotechnical, the site has been completed with the contaminated sites assessment, including full geotechnical. So we're not privy to the results because we're not the landowner, but I understand that the Development WA is and has. So perhaps your question can be forwarded direct to them during the public consultation period.
Sure, yeah, so I was hoping to get a bit more information so that my submission would make more sense or not waste my time if the answer's different. Thank you, but perhaps if there is a need or if the groundwater becomes a problem, you know, it's the town that will end up wearing it and where the water, you know, how the water's managed, I guess. And one of the things that does interest me, and I'm with some others, I'm planning to make a delegation to council at a later time, is about the dewatering issue and the volume of water that might be needed to be handled when the sorry, I have to wave my arms around when I talk about these things. But the section of Old Perth Road and the town centre from the Oval, or from the river, all the way through to the station, across the railway line, where there's large developments could come to fruition, is the intention of Town Planning Scheme 11 to have some large developments. A reorganisation or a good look at the drainage plan or drainage costs are liable to come up. And so I'm wondering if the town could bear that in mind as these things start to come forward. Maybe there'll be opportunities to have fountains on the street and stuff like that. No, I don't mean that. But for wetlands, there might be opportunities. And I'll stop there.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any further statements or questions? Okay. So if you could state your name and address.
Yes, my name is Michael Charles. I live at 14B Nurstead Avenue, Bassendean. Been there for 25 years.
Volume of water that might be needed to be handled when the...
So Councillor Carter, you might wish to mute because I think we've got some background noise coming from your microphone. Okay, sir, I think you can continue, hopefully.
Yeah. Okay. It relates to there's the Nurstead Heritage Precinct proposal or plan. I don't know what the right terminology is, but I listen to the news quite closely, and I understand that the government is in the process of deciding on high-density housing areas close to transport, like the railway, and Nurstead's very close to Success Hill Station, and which is totally logical as far as I can see. But I do understand that, there's people that are not really happy about that, and I'm just interested to know how, just how this tension will be negotiated. Basically, that's my question. I'll be very interested in the answer.
Okay. You're right in using the terminology tension, because yes, when there is a need for high density development and you've got heritage areas, there is definitely a tension, and so I congratulate the staff in that the proposal, the draft policy that is 12.3, seeks to find solutions for those people who value the heritage, and also to accommodate future development that is sympathetic to the heritage area. So you are totally correct in assuming that there are tensions brought about by the two differing aspirations. But I believe that the administration and the staff have hit upon a reasonably good solution. Certainly I have proposed a few amendments, and I'm hoping that the staff are happy with those amendments I've proposed today, but they are minor in nature really. So if you stay for the item, you will hear the questions from the councillors to the staff, and you will hear the outcome of whether that will go to advertising. It will go to advertising sooner or later, and at that point in time you can provide additional feedback if you so like. Okay? Is there anything to add to that, Mr. CEO?
No, thanks, Madam Mayor.
Okay. And last but not least, someone who I see more often in the chamber than I do in my own property. So,
Okay. I'm Carol Seidel of 55 Broadway, Bassendean. Firstly, I would like to make a bit of a comment about the Wilson Street car park. If you look at the trees, which I went and had a close look at, but also read the arborist report, it made me realise that the trees that were initially planted there many years ago was intended to be a garden. It's quite obvious. And what amazes me, we have two Rottnest Island tea trees over there, which are quite substantial, and they'd have to be the only two in Bassendean. So we do have some precious trees there that are to be valued, and it looks like the arborist has recognised that. Anyway, I want to know, the town will ensure the arborist report is implemented when making sure that as many trees remain as possible as stated in the report. Will the town staff be able to ensure that's done during construction? So will the town staff be able to see if they're complying to the recommendations of the arborist report? Because during construction, the site needs to take care that it ensures good tree protection and there is no chemical contamination occurs during the construction that would impact the remaining trees that are at that site.
okay.
So that's that one.
So, would you like to provide a response?
I can do that through you, Madam Mayor. As Cameron and the Mayor previously pointed out, we're not the determining authority for the application, but the town, in its initial recommendation to the department, does include and recommend conditions enforcing the arborist report.
Yeah.
And compliance with that, the town can monitor that with the department.
Okay. Well, I hope you can break their arms at every level. Okay. The next question regards the Park Lane development at the Wilson Street car park. Is there going to be any solar panels installed at the Park Lane development to offset the demand for power for the residents? This would help in making the building environmentally sustainable, friendly to the residents, and offset powering costs. And as we know, electricity costs are going through the roof. And the reason why I bring this up is I do know one of my friends is down in White Gum Valley, and she lives in a collective, and she's in a 2-bedroom unit, and she's never received a power bill because they have solar panels in that development. It's a 2-storey development, and so I figure it'd be really good to see solar panels installed in this development, because it's for people, for social housing, and it's also for people to provide them with low-cost housing. So I think that needs to be thought about and pursued. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll just quickly put a piece in before I switch over to Mr. Snedden. As articulated previously, this is not a development that the town has determination over. So the best that we can do is make recommendations, but I would strongly suggest to community members that they provide their feedback on the elements that they would like to see, because that's what the community consultation is for. But I will also ask Mr. Snedden if you would like to provide further information regarding solar panels.
Through you, Madam Mayor, the advice that we've received from Development WA is that yes, the base build will include solar panels, excuse me, and that system will have the ability to allow for batteries at a later date when they become more commercially viable, but it will include
It'll be a
solar panels.
two-step process.
That's correct.
Okay, well, I will be putting in submissions directly to the state government, so I just wanted to bring up what I was concerned about. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very
And
much.
thanks for all trying.
So, okay. So I think we've done statements and question time all in one go, which is pleasant. Unless there's anyone else in the audience who would like to ask a question, I think we've covered all the questions that were sent through. There were some questions that were sent in last week from Mr. Vinovich, and they have been responded to, and the responses emailed to that particular gentleman, and the responses will appear in the minutes of the meeting. Okay? So we now move on to item 8, which is petitions. I acknowledge the receipt of a petition from Mr. Manuel Summit re CCTV request. A report will be provided at the March meeting. Okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, we will move on to item 9.1, which is the confirmation of the minutes. So 9.1.1, that the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on the 26th of August 2025 be received and confirmed as a true and correct record. Could I have a mover for that item? Councillor Burke. Do I have a seconder? Myself. Do I have anyone against? I'll declare that carried. Could I just ask the administration, is Councillor Carter still... Okay. So Councillor Carter did not participate in that vote because she was offline, if we can make a note of that. The next one is 9.1.2, that the minutes of the ordinary meeting held on the 16th of December 2025 be received and confirmed as a true and correct record. Can I have a mover for that item? Councillor John. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Long. Do I have anyone against? I'll declare that carried. Again, Councillor Carter not participating in that vote. We've also got 9.1.3, that the minutes of the special council meeting held on the 22nd of December 2025 be received and confirmed as a true and correct record. Do I have a mover for that item? Councillor Burke, a seconder. Myself. Do I have anyone against? I'll declare that carried. Now we have no business deferred from a previous meeting, so we'll move on to item 11, external committee reports and updates. 11.1, that the council notes that no documents from external committees have been received within the reporting period. We don't have to vote on that. No. Okay. So, councillors, we'll now move to the officer reports. Now, en bloc, Do we have any items that any councillor wishes to remove from en bloc? So in en bloc, I've got 12.5 accounts paid for December, 12.6 accounts paid for January, 12.7 monthly financial report for January, 12.8 policy review, street name and directional signs policy, 12.10 council plan quarterly report. Councillors, do you wish to remove any of those items? If not, can I have a mover for those items en bloc? Councillor Burke, seconded Councillor Polifka. Do I have anyone against? I'll declare that carried. So we'll now move on to the actual reports. So 12.2 is the first item, the draft Bassendean Town Centre Precinct Structure Plan. And I would ask if the officer would like to provide any additional information on that. It was covered comprehensively last week, but we did have a councillor missing last week.
Through you, Madam Mayor, nothing further to add from last week. However, it'd be remiss of me not to acknowledge the work of Aaron from GHD, Cameron Hartley in my absence whilst I was on leave, and the broader planning team in the actual preparation and work into the precinct structure planning document as presented to you tonight.
Thank you very much. Okay, councillors, do I have anyone with questions regarding this particular item? Councillor Polifka, you look like you're ready to...
Yeah, I was just following on from the information that our planning staff have provided in relation to some of the questions that were submitted by landowners on the previous occasion. I just had one question in relation to, there was a comment there about the amalgamation of lots. Is there anything in the precinct structure plan that gives concessions to people if they manage to put multiple lots together, and whether that can create better design outcomes?
Through you, Madam Mayor, no.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. So just for clarity for the members of the public in the chamber, Mr. Snadden, if you could just confirm that this will go out to advertising for a 6-week period, if memory serves me right, and it will go out for advertising 28 days from now, is that right?
That's correct, through you, Madam Mayor. Within the 28-day period, the advertising period will commence, and it will go out for a period of 49 days, noting it will be advertised over the Easter break, so it'll be extended by 1 week, so as per the regulations, so a 7-week advertising period.
Okay, and again, if people want to, we've got some information at 35 Old Perth Road, is that correct? So if people want to see additional information in hard copy, they make an appointment to come in and see it, is that correct?
Through you, Madam Mayor, yes, when the document is out for advertising, it will be made available at our customer service centre and our library. We'll be preparing a suite of documents to go with that, including frequently asked questions and the like.
Okay, and for those people who are not online and wish to submit feedback by hard copy, that will be accommodated as usual, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillors, further questions on this item? Okay, so I will ask if I have a mover for this item. Councillor Long, seconder. Councillor Burke. Do I have anyone against? I'll declare that carried, noting that Councillor Carter has participated in that vote, given she's online. Is she online? Councillor Carter, when we vote, could I ask for you to put up your hand, or to just say yes, whatever suits you? Okay?
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. The next item on the agenda is 12.3, the Nurstead Avenue Heritage Area and Draft Amended Local Planning Policy Number 4, Heritage and Character. Now, Mr. CEO, as you know, I sent through some amendments, you provided feedback, and I have taken most of that feedback on board, made some slight changes, and I believe that all the councillors have a copy of that in front of them in hard copy. Before we go any further, what I will ask is if the staff wish to provide any additional information on this item.
Through you, Madam Mayor.
No?
No, thank you.
Okay. Councillors, do you have any questions on this item? Councillor Carter, did you want me to read out the proposed amendments that it's moving the officer's recommendation with amendments. I did send them through in an email, but I'm wondering if you would like me to read it out. Okay. Okay, councillors, there are no questions on this item before I proceed to reading out the proposed amendment? No? Okay. So basically it's the officer's recommendation, which is points 1 and 2 as printed in the agenda, subject to the following amendments in red being made to draft local planning scheme number 4, and under the heading application, this policy applies to all applications for subdivision approval or development approval for heritage protected places and properties located within a designated heritage area. So it's as last several words, and properties located within a designated heritage area that are added. Then clause point 2.8
Your name and address. Yes, my name is Michael Charles. I live at 14.
Okay. Sorry, we've got some technical issues. There seems to be some feedback and a delay in some of this recording that's coming through on the record. It's very confusing. Okay, so continuing on, I'm going to ignore the bits and pieces of information that seem to be floating around the chamber. It's like we've got gremlins. So clause point 2.8, demolition. The first part of it is all as per the officer's recommendation. Point 3, so clause 2.8A3, the extent to which the community would benefit from the proposed redevelopment of properties that do not in themselves possess heritage significance. And 4, if a place is located within a designated heritage area, the contribution of the place the contribution the place makes to that heritage area, including but not limited to its contribution to the streetscape and the identified heritage and character values of the area. Sorry, that came out very confused, but it does make sense when you read the whole paragraph. So, councillors, those last amendments relate to the demolition clause only. And I would ask if Councillor Carter, first of all, has any questions on that before I move it, the officer's recommendation with those amendments. No? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, unless there's no further questions, I would like to move the officer's recommendation with those amendments. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Polifka. Do I have anyone against? I'll put that to the vote then. All those in favour? So everyone in the chamber is in favour. Councillor Carter, if you could say yay or raise your hand.
Apologies, Madam Mayor. I'm just going to step out of the room for a moment. I'll be back briefly, but I have voted on that one.
Okay. We proceed with the... Yep. Okay. So I'll declare that carried. Okay. She's typing. So clearly she can't communicate on the microphone. I can't read that.
Okay, she's made a recording of the sound issue, but that's no good having it now, so.
Yep. Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to the next item, which is 12.4, the annual budget mid-year review. Again, if there are any comments to add to this? No?
None, Madam Mayor.
Okay, councillors, do we have any questions on this particular item? Okay, so can I have a mover for this item? Councillor Long, a seconder, Councillor Plifka. And just for the benefit of the recording, Councillor John has re-entered the room, and Councillor John, we're on item 12.4. We're just heading into the vote now for the mid-year review. So I've got a mover, I've got a seconder. All those in favour? I'll declare that. We've got a raise of hands. I'll declare that carried. Okay. So we move on to the next item, which is 12.09, Code of Conduct for Council members, committee members and candidates. Again, Mr CEO, I think this was covered comprehensively last week. Are there any additional comments on this one?
No, Madam Mayor.
Okay. So, councillors, questions? If not, I'd ask for a mover. Councillor Burke, seconded Councillor John. Do I have anyone against? I'll declare that carried. 12.11 is policy review, execution of documents. One of the most simple policy presentations I've ever come across. So thank you very much. And I assume there's no additional comments on that. So councillors, I'd ask, is there a mover for that item? Councillor Burke, seconded. Councillor Long. Do I have anyone against? I'll declare that carried. Okay, so councillors, we also have a urgent business first, or the notice of motion?
12.11, have we done that?
12.
Oh, no, we've done 12.10.
Yeah.
This one here.
It's in
On block.
on
that's
block.
Right.
So that's all the reports. Now we're on to 13.1.
13.1.
Okay. Okay, so notice of motion, community funding policies. Now, this is a notice of motion presented by Councillor John, and I would ask the administration if you wish to make any comment on this, other than the comment you've got at the end of the report, and then I'll ask Councillor John if he would like to move this notice of motion.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Nothing further to add from the briefing session last week, where we did spend a little bit of time on this item. So I'd commend it to Councillor John and then to the vote.
Councillor John, are you moving this item?
Yes, I would like to move the item.
Okay, I'll ask for a seconder.
Okay.
Okay, do I have a seconder for this item? Councillor Long. Okay, do I have anyone against?
Are we able to ask questions?
You are.
Thank you. Probably more for the CEO. So I see the comment at the end, the officer's comment, which is quite brief, just saying that it supports the intention of the motion as it aligns with the continuous improvement process. Is there any cost impost to this in terms of opportunity cost, additional staffing, or is it within what you've already accounted for? So will there be any staffing or increase in cost?
No internal cost increases. It'll be an internal desktop review with the staff and probably a small project working group.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So, since we're asking questions, Mr. CEO, this could progress through your normal service level review in a timeline that suits the administration. Is that correct?
That's correct, Madam Mayor, yes.
Okay. Do you perceive a rollout, for lack of a better word, in a particular order for this notice of motion?
No, Madam Mayor, I don't think, well, a policy review would be the kickstart, and then moving into reviewing our program effectiveness, so where the funding is actually spent, which would cover off a number of our programs, such as the Relax program. We'd need to look at attendance figures, take up, those particular activities that are well patronised versus those that aren't, but that's part of what each director will be doing during that busy period now, that leading into the budget adoption. So it's really business as usual with a lens over what are we doing now and can we do it better, and then presenting those changes as part of the 25-26 budget workshops.
Okay, supplementary question to that. You mentioned the Relax program, which I wouldn't have thought that the Relax program would have fallen into the community funding policies, given that the community funding policies are for community groups and clubs. So I'm a bit confused about the reference to the Relax program.
The reference there is indirect in that if we review where we're currently spending ratepayer funds, it may mean that if we find an overspend in one area, such as the Relax program, because its uptake hasn't been that great, then if we want to put more money into education and community sustainability through upskilling or more grants, then what we're suggesting is rather than ask for new money, we're looking for from within for existing money that could be refurbished or transitioned across into any changes to the funding policy.
Okay, I will ask one more question. That would then require council decision-making during the budget process about redistributing funds from existing programs into new programs, correct?
That's correct.
Right, okay. So, further questions? Councillor Polifka?
Yes, probably just the form of the motion, and might be being a little pedantic, but as it's currently framed, it says request the CEO authorise the administration to. Could that just be council requests the CEO to? Because, I mean, the CEO doesn't authorise the administration, the CEO controls the administration.
Correct, yep.
Yeah, it should start with that council.
Request the CEO
Yeah.
to, yes. If Councillor John's happy with that.
Okay.
No disagreement from me on that one.
Okay, councillors, further questions? Okay, we have a mover. We have a seconder. Do I have anyone against? I will be voting against, so councillors will go into debate.
Just a point of order, Madam Mayor. Did Councillor John get a chance to introduce the item?
He's
moved it, but I
Yeah.
don't think he had a chance to talk to it.
Does he not talk to it during debate?
Normally, I would think the council will get a chance to introduce the item.
Okay.
Either way, I'll take the opportunity to speak. This is something that is really important to me. I've worked in the non-profit sector for a while, and I've been part of different community groups. And one of the sentiments that I've noticed since being elected to council and before was that community groups are, some of them will say things to me like, oh, we can't afford that. And the town often feels that it is in a similar situation. An example would be closing of Old Perth Road because of traffic wardens. It was too expensive, and the conversation sort of ended that this is too expensive. This policy is about creating a vision where these community groups over time can build that capacity and have the confidence in themselves and their future vision to build their own financial capacity. Some of the advantages of this would be that instead of coming to us for money, they're coming to us for help to raise money, as well as, and we will obviously naturally contribute to that as we have done previously. But it will also create an opportunity for these groups to speak truth to us. They won't be dependent on us, and say something happens to the town in a way that, you know, financially we need to cut some of the bells and whistles. These groups won't be going, oh, well, that's all of the great things that we do coming to an end. So that's part one of the policy, is to strengthen that grant funding and that financial sustainability of each group. Part two is about, well, that's the why, how do we do it? So part 2 of this is to create education and toolkits, and even, for a lot of community groups, just having a square reader at the town that they can borrow will actually be quite instrumental, and have someone who can help them use that is going to actually mean that they're going from not raising any money digitally to, next time they have a chook raffle or whatever it is, they're going to be able to get all those people who don't carry cash anymore, like myself. So, I've gone to different community group events as well, and I've said, are you raising any money? Can I buy something? And more often than not, they're not. So it's not, at the moment, it's quite difficult to give my money away to some of these community groups. And I think there should be a incentive to help them get that money that people are willing to give. So that's the incentive here. And this is an information-seeking motion. It's not changing the policy today. I think this is really saying there's some problems with our current policy. There's some problems with the vision of how community groups can function and what they can do, and how can we do a better job to support them. So that's the intention here. So that's the motion, and I hope you'll support it.
Councillor Long?
Madam Mayor, I have nothing more to add to that. I wholeheartedly support Councillor John. I've seen, I say I have nothing more to add, I'll highlight a little bit. I have seen good examples of where not-for-profit community-focused groups have built resilience and capability within themselves just by having a few small, simple tools and guidelines. And I, off the top of my head, I'm not going to add fix-it type suggestions here, but I can think of a handful of ways in which we could help small groups like that become more financially capable and independent.
Okay. So, councillors, I will allow other councillors who might want to debate against, but otherwise I'll enter into the debate. Okay, so I acknowledge the intent of the notice of motion. I acknowledge that from a long-term point of view, there are definitely some aspects to this notice of motion that could be advantageous and helpful. My main concern relates to where we are at this moment. We have a significant amount of work that is being pushed through at the moment via multiple staff and community groups. We have the Ashfield Flats Master Plan, where we have community groups...
Point of order.
Excuse me?
Point of order, please.
And what is your point of order?
The relevance. This is about community grants.
Yes.
Right now.
Yep. And I would like to continue with my point, if you would allow me to put the relevance to you. Okay. So the relevance related to this is that we have community groups that are producing a significant amount of work and that they are stretched at the moment. So there is a timeline issue. I don't believe that we can implement all of these actions in a fashion. I think that the administration, the question I asked the administration was, could this be done administratively? And the answer from the CEO was yes. This would allow the administration to make assessments and to prioritise what needs to be done first and foremost and to work their way through the process. The notice of motion has some timelines in here. You have a rejigging of the policy, which I assume, if you're going to get budget allocations, needs to be done by June 30, 2026. I think a transition period would be needed for community groups. Community groups that are reliant on funding from the town will already be planning and expecting funding in the 26-27 financial year. So I don't believe that you can enforce changes in a very rapid fashion, so I believe there should be a transition period. And I would prefer to leave that to the administration to carry out these actions in a orderly fashion rather than jumping through hoops to try and produce many of these items. So I have concerns about the process, how it would be implemented, the costing, staff timing. I have all these concerns. I've articulated these concerns, and even though I think that there are aspects to this notice of motion that are commendable, I would be happier if the notice of motion was being rolled out over a longer timeline rather than such a short timeline. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you. Councillors for the motion? Councillors against the motion? We will go to closing.
I would prefer to leave that to the administration.
Sorry, Councillor Carter. Apologies, I did not see your hand up. Councillor Carter, you wanted to speak?
From what I've been gathering, trying to follow it, I'm against Councillor John's motion.
Would you like to speak to that? What's going on with the microphone? Councillor Carter, did you wish to speak against the motion, or you're just indicating you're against it? Sorry, I'm having a hard time because you're not coming through consistently.
She might have thought we were voting.
Okay, so we'll go to closing. Councillor John?
In response to the points that have been raised, the timeline issue I think is interesting because, and please, CEO, correct me if I'm wrong, we met on 2 December 25 to discuss the intention of this motion. At that time, in a spirit of collaboration, I asked how best to progress this. The suggestion at that time was made for a motion for February so that it could be included as part of the budget process. If you had concerns at that time, I imagine you would have raised them, or in the months since. There have been plenty of opportunities. This administration is competent and eager to do good work, and I think this can be seen by the officer comment, which states that the motion aligns with the continuous improvement policy.
Okay. So we'll go to closing. Councillor John? Sorry, we're getting some feedback coming through on the microphone, so it's quite confusing. Sorry, I thought you'd finished.
No,
sorry.
To reiterate that this motion is seeking options. It is not intended to pull the rug out or to increase the cost. It is purely for the purpose of the council administration to look at a policy and go, how can we do this better? There's an appetite from some councillors and from the administration to do that good work, which has been demonstrated. And I think things like a transition period, which you've raised, will likely be included as part of that review and will come back with any policy changes. And I suspect if they did not, when this motion becomes one that is being enacted as policy, that is something that we would raise and that we would implement. It's not, it is bizarre to me that we are debating seeking more information. This is a debate over whether we are informed or not. And I'm surprised. I did not expect to be debating whether or not we let the administration get on with their good work and tell us the quality of the policy they can produce. So that's my closing statement, and I'm prepared to vote in favour of the motion.
If you don't mind, councillors, is there chat that is coming from Councillor Carter or not?
No, she doesn't wish to make a comment. She can't hear the recording, so she's gone through the YouTube
Okay. So thank you. Now we understand where this feedback's coming from. So yeah, no, it's okay. We'll. Sorry, Councillor John. That was quite convoluted. That feedback that was coming through at the back of it was quite strange. So, councillors, we will go to the vote. Okay, all those in favour, please raise your hand. So I've got Councillor Long and Councillor John. All those against? Myself, Councillor Polifka, Councillor Burke, and I actually don't know about Councillor Carter. Oh. Okay. Thank you very much. Sorry, again, we've got a bit of noise going on. Okay, so we've got urgent business, which is 15.1. So that's the Jubilee Reserve Pavilions concept plans. Now, councillors, there was confidential attachments for this item. So if you're discussing confidential attachments, we will have to go behind closed doors. But if your questions do not relate to the confidential attachments, we can stay in chambers to discuss this item. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. CEO, would you like to discuss this one?
Madam Mayor, thank you. We did have a workshop on this earlier in the month, and the staff have done an amazing job to do a turnaround with quantity surveyor estimates well before we were expecting them, and to also run a comprehensive workshop with the user groups. And that went quite well. I won't steal all of the limelight because the Director of Community and Place is now going to provide you with an update. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and councillors and members in the gallery. Through you, Madam Mayor, I'll just do a fairly brief introduction, hopefully, but noting that the majority of the information that's in the report was also discussed at the council workshop a few weeks ago. The only real difference I would propose is the engagement we've had with the clubs on the 18th of February, and also obviously the costs that have come through. So the purpose of this report, just to go back one step, is for Council to endorse concept design options for both Stan Moses and the Caledonian Club rooms, so that we meet the requirements of the funding agreements and to enable progression of the preferred design to schematic design. So 2 concepts for each site were presented to councillors and then to the clubs last week. And as you will have seen in the report, option A is preferred by the Caledonians, primarily because of the functional design elements, the size of the expansion, and I think possibly most importantly, the lesser impact on clubs, given that option B is a much more significant renovation project. With Stan Moses, option B is the preferred option, given that it's better value because it's a new build. It also provides more favourable proximity to the playing fields and improves spectator viewing across both major ovals. It potentially presents an opportunity for car park expansion and, again, similar to the Caledonians' choice, allows clubs to operate normally during the construction phase. This option, the new build with Stan Moses, obviously also removes any unknown risks associated with the renovation option, and the concerns that were presented by the architect around compromised redesign options because of having to retain the walls because of load-bearing factors. From an administration perspective, we're supportive of the club's preferred options, as they both allow the clubs to operate through the season. And there's a number of additional benefits with the Stan Moses option. That includes, as I've mentioned, car parking. It reduces the risk of variations through the building phase, and effectively addresses accessibility issues. The costs came in, sorry, having a mental blank of what I wanted to say there. The Stan Moses cost option is obviously cost effective, with both options being the same. And then the Caledonians, there's some option, it seems appropriate for the Bow project. I would note that with both, there is option for further refinement as we progress through schematic design. So the costs in the confidential attachments are not final, and there will be an opportunity to further review and refine those when we get to schematic design. I think that's it.
Thank you very much, Ms. Brenner. Okay, so Mr. CEO, clearly there's a few questions, but I will ask councillors to tread carefully when we're talking about the financial components that are confidential. If I can kick it off with one question, the page 56 of the agenda under proposal, it states that we will progress to schematic design phase where refined cost estimates will be undertaken before any decision is made to proceed to construction. At that point, will this come back to council?
Yes, Madam Mayor, it'll come back to council before it goes out for detailed design and construction.
Okay, thank you. Councillors, further questions? Councillor Plifka.
Yes, so probably for the Director in relation to that. So I heard on a few occasions that it's cost effective, so obviously that's important for our broader community. But just to confirm that we essentially in this instance have a happy congruence between cost and the club's preference. So the options that are being suggested are also the ones which the clubs have had input in, and the clubs are happy with those.
Through you, Madam Mayor, yes, that's correct.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Okay. Further questions, councillors? And I think we've lost Councillor Carter again. Yeah, she's late. Yeah, okay. Okay. So, councillors, further questions on this item? And if you do wish to ask questions of the confidential attachments, we can take it behind closed doors. Yes. Yes. Okay, so councillors, if there are no further questions, I'm going to go to the officer recommendation. So, and for the benefit of the audience, the recommendation is that Council 1 endorse option A for Bassendean Caledonians to proceed to the schematic design phase on the basis that additional cost refinement is required to meet the project cost estimates. 2, endorse option B for Stan Moses Pavilion to proceed to the schematic design phase. 3, authorises the CEO to submit the federal grant application with Caledonian Concept Plan Option A and Stan Moses Concept Plan Option B on the basis that cost estimates will be updated post the schematic design phase. Do I have a mover for that item? Councillor Plifka, seconded Councillor Burke. Do I have anyone against? I'll declare that carried. Very good. A monumental achievement. I would like to thank all the staff and Mr. CEO for progressing such a substantial project to this stage. It's very, very satisfying. Councillors, we'll now go to confidential business. So can I have a mover to go behind closed doors? Councillor Plifka, seconded Councillor Burke. Do I have anyone against? I'll declare that carried. If we can close the doors, thank you.
Police clearance?
Yes. Yes. Mr. Grogan, it's always a pleasure to have you in the chamber. Yep. Okay, are we back online? Okay, so welcome back, everyone. In respect to confidential item 16.1, the council unanimously resolved to accept the officer's recommendation. Thank you. I'll now declare the meeting closed at 7:14 p.m. Thank you, one and all. Thank you, staff. Right. Do you have enough documents there?